In this lecture, let's introduce a blocking state for our task. When a task has got nothing to do, it should simply call a delay function, which should put the task into blocked state from running state until the specified delay is elapsed. We should now maintain two states for a task, that is running state and blocked state. The scheduler should schedule only those tasks which are in running state. We have to modify the scheduler code. The scheduler also should unblock the blocked task if their blocking period is over and put them back into running state. What we're going to do is we are going to do some modifications to our code. We are going to create a task control block, TCB, because in our code we have these global variables, separate global variables like PSP of task handlers, everything. Instead of creating these data separately, we can create a TCB structure for a task, and that TCB structure contains all the required information about a task, like its PSP value, its block count or wait count, and another variable to represent its state, whether it is blocked, ready, or running, and function pointer to hold the address to the task handler. For all this information, instead of creating separate variables like this, we can create a structure. That would be a good method, and I call it as a TCB structure. Let's modify our code. I'm going to create a TCB. That would be the typedef structure. Typedef struct. First member element of this structure would be I would create uint32 underscore t PSP value. The next one would be uint32 underscore t block count or wait count. This variable will be helpful to store the block period that I will teach you later. Just create a variable for block count. After that, let's create one more variable to store running current state. And after that, let's create a function pointer to hold the task handler address. I would just create a function pointer. This would be our TCB underscore t. There is a problem. You should have to write something like this, void. This is a TCB, and let's create 4 TCBs because we have 4 tasks. Let's create the variable of this structure type, TCB underscore t. I will call it as user task, and let me treat it as an array. Why? Because we have 4 tasks, isn't it? 1 TCB per task. After that, let's remove this. I'm going to remove this code because that is not required now. We have to modify the code. Here I would remove this, and what I introduce is init task. Let's introduce one function, init task, or I can use this function itself, init task stack. Here what we do is user task of 0 dot current state is equal to, initially keep all the tasks in running state. Let me use the macro task running state. Let's repeat this for all the 4 tasks. You can also do it in loop, no problem, but let me do it this way. After that, we have to initialize the PSP value. So let's do that. PSP value is equal to a T1 stack start. Let's repeat this code. 2, 3, 4. This is 1, 2, 3. That's correct. And after that, so we initialized these 2 member elements of this task control block. We have to initialize this function pointer with a task handler address. Let's do that. For that, again, let's use the user task of 0. A task handler is equal to task 1 handler. Make it as task 2 handler, task 3 handler, task 4 handler, and 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's create this macro. Define task running state. Let me call it as 0, 0. And let's also create one more macro, task blocked state. Let me call it as 0 cross ff. Cut this code and let's keep it in main.h. Keep it somewhere here. Let's go back. After that, we have to modify this. We don't have this array, isn't it? So we removed it. Here we have to do user task of I PSP value. Correct. Here we have to remove this and user task of I task handler. After that, this is same, no change here. Here we have to change. This must be this code. That looks good. Let's again verify all our code. This is done. LED init, SysTick timer. Let's see whether we have to change anything here. No. I used LED init twice. I would remove this. In the PSP, yes, we have to check here. Now we have to modify these functions. Get PSP value. It should return user task of current task PSP value. And save PSP value. Current PSP value has to be stored here. That's correct. After that, current task plus plus, so there is no change here. This looks good. Let's go back to the main.c and let's examine task handler. There is no change here. That looks good with structure, with TCB. And now let's try to compile, see whether there is any error or not. There is a warning, assignment makes integer from pointer without cast. This will give you a pointer. You have to cast that into a value. Let's compile. That's good. Quickly test this code with all these changes. The output must be same. The only thing is we removed those global variables and replaced it by TCB. That's it. That's the only change I did. Let me run this code and let me pause. Yes, it should be working fine. Let's see. So this is working fine, no problem. In the next lecture, I'm going to introduce blocking a task for a given number of ticks. We have to introduce this feature into our application, and I'll see you in the next lecture.